How's it going, all you minties? Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And join me today as I get to break some news from the world of the Marvel collected editions in 2026. I can't believe we are looking at 2026. 2 brand new Omnis coming out January of 2026. So let's go ahead and get started. This video is sponsored by Marvel Comics, so thank you to David Gabriel and the fine folks at Marvel for sending us advance notice of both of these Omnis coming out in January of 2026. That is crazy to think about. We're thinking about January 2026, but that's the way it is, and here we are. We are looking at 2 books. They are both a continuation of 2 ongoing series. Actually, one of the books, the first one I'll talk about, is the one that wraps up this era for this X-Men related series. So both of these are X-Men related. But before I go any further, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications. And let others know where you get your breaking news in the world of the Marvel Collected Edition. All right, let's just go on and talk about the first book. So this first book I mentioned was X-Men related and a continuation of a series that was ongoing. It's a future volume. So this is Ultimate X-Men Omnibus Volume 3 coming out in January of 2026. Now, let's take a look at our cover. The first cover we're looking at here. And this very first cover we're looking at is the one that's going to be available everywhere. So this is the standard edition cover, and it is the one that is applied by Michael Turner. That's the one with, I always love that image. That's the one with Cable from issue number 75. So speaking of Cable in issue 75, collected in here is Ultimate X-Men 75 through 100, Ultimate Wolverine versus Hulk 1 through 6, Ultimate X-Men, Ultimate Fantastic Four Annual number 1, Ultimate Fantastic Four, Ultimate X-Men Annual number 1, and Ultimatum 1 through 5, and then Ultimatum X-Men Requiem number 1. And in here, you're going to find the work of course, Robert Kirkman writing the stories. Wrapping up the series is Aaron Colliette. Mark Brooks drawing some of the issues in here. Ben Oliver drawing some of the issues. Tom Rainey drawing some of the issues. Yannick Paquette. And what's interesting, I love that Ultimate Wolverine and versus the Hulk is collected in here. That miniseries was huge. It was written by Damon Lindelof, and you don't even have to worry about delays because there was a little bit of a delay in that series, and drawn by the phenomenal Lionel Francis Yu. What surprises me is the Jeff Loeb and the David Finch Ultimatum story that is collected in here. But I guess it kind of makes sense because what happens towards the end of the series. So before I go any further, let's look at the direct market cover. So this is the cover right here that is for the direct market, and it is drawn by Ed McGuinness, who actually drew some of the covers towards the end of the series. So I talked about the creators that were behind the scenes, but what kind of stories can be found in here, and why does it wrap up this era? So in here, you're going to find, of course, the Cable story, the Apocalypse story, Phoenix, ? The Return of the Sentinels, and then the Ultimatum tie-ins. And those Ultimatum books, my gosh, they were ruthless, because a lot of characters died, so don't get too attached to these mutants. I'm not going to say who exactly if you haven't read Ultimatum. So towards the end of the run, there were tie-ins with the Ultimatum event that was going on. And that, of course, wiped out a lot of characters. Now, there were Ultimate X-Men series after this, and long before the Peach Momoko series, that they could collect in another collection, maybe a volume 4. But as of now, this does end with issue 100, and I think the next one is Ultimate X. But I do appreciate that the Ultimate Universe always had twists and turns when it came to these characters, like the character of Cable or the character of Apocalypse. You may be asking, wait a second, didn't I already see what Ultimate Apocalypse was? Maybe. All right, I promised that there were 2 X-Men related books continuing Omnis. So the next one I'm talking about also is coming out in January 2026 and is a volume 2. So I am talking about X Factor, the original X-Men Omnibus volume 2. So let's take a look at our standard edition cover. The cover that will be available everywhere is supplied by the series artist, of course, Walter Simonson. And that is an image from Inferno. So how exactly is Inferno going to be collected in here? All right, collected in here is X Factor 27 through 50, X Factor Annual 3 and 4, Exterminators 1 through 4, Uncanny X-Men 240 to 243, New Mutants 76, Fantastic Four 342, and then material from New Mutants Annual number 5 and Marvel Comics Presents 15, 17 through 24. So if you're looking at the content here and thinking, I've got some of this in Omnibus format, yes, if you have the prologue to Inferno and Inferno, that takes you from 27 to 40, and some of that material from the X Factor Annuals 3 and 4 are in there, not the full annuals, not the backup stories. Exterminators is in the Inferno Omnibus as well. And I think Arthur Adams' Omni collects issues 41 and 42. But the interesting thing about this mapping is it collects all of Inferno because it was really a crossover between X-Men and X Factor. And the whole thing about Madeline Pryor and what role she plays in Inferno, and then of course who's pulling the strings of Inferno. So what's not in here, you're probably wondering, is New Mutants, but that was more of a magic story. So why is New Mutants 76 in here? Well, New Mutants 76 is important because the Exterminators, the kids that were in X Factor, that started calling themselves the Exterminators, end up joining the New Mutants. So you've got Richter and Skids and Rusty that will end up joining them. And as a matter of fact, there's the issue here of the Fantastic Four is a team up with the Human Torch and Rusty taking down the Seekers. All right, let's look at your direct market cover. And your direct market cover here is supplied by, of course, Walter Simonson, who did a lot of the artwork in here. And of course, Louise Simonson was the main writer on the book here. Not everything, of course, written by her. You have some Chris Claremont stuff in here. And also that Fantastic Four issue, I think it's Danny Fingeroff doing that. But not only the only artist, because you also have Judgment War in here collected for the first time in oversized hardcover format. And the phenomenal Paul Smith, legendary Paul Smith, coming back to drawing the X-Men characters. Rich Buckler also does some issues in here. Arthur Adams, Al Milgrom, and Rob Liefeld doing some early stuff. So the type of stories you're going to find in here, of course, the first appearance of the Orphan Maker and Nanny, Infectia, the fight with the Avengers are going to be collected in here. And also the big reveal as to, the betrayal, who betrayed Archangel, and how that will lead later on into something called the Extinction Agenda. But it makes me happy that all of Judgment War is finally going to be collected in oversized format. I've been waiting for this book for so long. I thought we were going to get an Inferno Aftermath one day, but maybe we still can. Now, the Marvel Comics Presents issues, one of them is focusing on Marvel Girl, Jean Grey. Is it Maiden Phoenix? I think it's what it's called. And then the other one is the Redemption story, and that is the Cyclops storyline. And those have not been collected anywhere before. And I hope to continue with collecting the letter pages too, because that was such a nice addition to the first omnibus. But that is the content of both books. That is your announcement for this round. January 2026, starting off with some X-Men related books. And also, let me know in the comments down below what you think of the stories. Don't forget to pre-order. Let me know which cover you're going to get and what you think of the content, of course. Any questions, leave those down below. That's it, everybody. Stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.